Can I start with my sadness that Sir David Amess isn't here today, because I've spoken in this debate pretty much every time since I was elected, which albeit was only 2 years ago. And the joy of this debate was not getting to speak in it yourself, but getting to see his tour de force, because most of us decide between the 30, 40, 50 issues which small handful we will raise, and he just raised them all. And it was a sight to behold, and I think we very much will always miss that contribution in this debate as in so many others. Now, when I thought about the 30, 40 different things I could raise, from my campaign for Grove Station to issues of housing and planning as have been touched on, I decided on three which all happen to begin with an A. The first is the AEAT pensioners. Now, this, as some members may know, is a group of pensioners predominantly in my constituency, though some of them are in other parts of the country, who transferred over when part of the UK Atomic Energy Authority was privatised. They transferred over to a new company in the mid-90s, were given all sorts of assurances about their terms and conditions, including their pensions, that it was very unlikely that anything would happen negatively to the value of their pensions. And guess what? That company went bust less than 20 years later, and their pensions are now worth between a quarter and a third less than they were. Now, the particularly unique aspect of this case is that they were given that advice to not worry about their pensions by the Government Actuary Department. And what has happened for several years is they've been pushed from pillar to post and from department to department, being told this is where you should go to seek redress. No, it's that department. No, it's that department. Don't worry, the Ombudsman can look at your case. But what we've established, and I pay tribute to my predecessor, now Lord Vasey of Didcot, because he worked on this for a while as well. What we've established is that actually it's not within the Ombudsman's remit to look at the advice the Government Actuary Department has given, and therefore these pensioners have no redress whatsoever. So the reason I have a 10-minute rule bill, the reason I have an APPG on this issue, is because these guys have done the right thing. They were given assurances, and they, for want of a better phrase, have never had their day in court. They've never had somebody look at what's happened here. I'm a member of the Equitable Life APPG, and we know what went wrong there. This is a unique case for over 1,000 pensioners, which I will keep going on because it's very important. I've met with the Minister. It's still the case the Ombudsman can't investigate it. I hope we can either change that or get them another form of redress, because we should all be entitled to a form of redress to take our complaint, even if it doesn't go in the way we wanted it to. The second day is the Appleford Relief Road. Now, Appleford is a small village in my constituency, and as part of a housing infrastructure fund bid by Oxfordshire County Council, it's going to have a relief road very nearby to help ease some of the traffic congestion in other parts of the constituency. The problem is that until very recently, they didn't realise how close to them this relief road is going to be. And let me tell you, having seen images of what this looks like and what relief roads look like, this is a 30-foot high road which is going to be right up by their houses. Now, this campaign group, and I've met with them, and I think they've got a compelling case, are not, they would be dismissed by some as NIMBYs. Actually, far from it. They are not opposed to the road. They have a very reasonable request, which is that they want Oxfordshire County Council to simply move it by about 200 metres. It will still be close to them, but just not as close as it is, so that the noise, the traffic, the pollution that it's going to bring to them has less of an impact than it otherwise would. The work hasn't started yet. I think this is a very reasonable request, and I'm urging Oxfordshire County Council to address again the concerns of residents, because it is very reasonable. None of us would want this near us, and even if we have to delay the completion of the works, I think it's right that we should do so. And then the third A is the A420. Now, this is something I've held an adjournment debate in this place last year about. This is a road that snakes right the way across my constituency. And many of my constituents find it very, very dangerous. The crash data backs them up on that point. There are very, very regular crashes all the way along it. There are bizarre situations where people who live near it have to get a bus down the A420 to be able to cross and get the bus back when they simply want to cross a road that's directly in front of them in their village, but which is too unsafe for them to be able to do so. My constituent Jo is one of the most recent people to be injured on this road. She's in a neck brace at the moment. And this is, I mean, again, the road is the responsibility of Oxfordshire County Council, and we need a bunch of different things on here, from a proper bus service to safe crossing points to bike lanes and walkways and so on, because it's used an awful lot by HGV lorries, and we need to, partly with the A420, try and deter them from using this, because it shouldn't be used in the way it is. It's used by lots of vehicles that speed. It's used as a sort of shortcut where it shouldn't be, when actually it's passing by a lot of what should be very quiet villages that aren't experiencing the shaking to their houses and all the other difficulties of getting on or off this road or across this road. So again, I hope this is something that we can make progress on, and that I will keep pushing on behalf of my constituents. What these three things have in common, along with the many other things I could have raised today, is that they're all about people feeling their voices aren't heard. That they've got legitimate grievances and complaints, but they feel the authorities, whoever they are, whether it's their local council, it's a government department, whatever it may be, sometimes it's a business, it can be anything, aren't listening to them. Don't give them the time and attention and deal with what should be relatively straightforward things to deal with if there was the will to do so. And like I'm sure a lot of members of this House do, I constantly tell my constituents, I don't have the power myself to be able to change the situation you find yourself in. I wish I did. But my role is very much to keep making sure that their voices are heard in this place, and that's what I will do week after week. So with that, can I wish you, Madam Deputy Speaker, a very Merry Christmas, and likewise to all of the staff in the House of Commons, the doorkeepers and everybody else, because without them we would be in a very bad place indeed.
Thank you.
My honourable friend for Wantage, he talked about three serious issues in his constituency, including the relief roads and the pensions issue. He talked about all those that are involved in these campaigns feeling that they don't have anybody, they don't feel that they're being listened to. But if I can just reassure those constituents of his, I've seen him at work in this House, and I know that they have an MP who is diligent and relentless and will ensure that their voice is continually heard.